I am Delthius. We got the Delthius cam on. There's no delay. I think I messed up the first time, but we should be good now. And I need to get Kipo in here. So what we're going to do is Kipo is going to be behind the scenes. I got my fancy Tooth and Tail t-shirt on. Yeah, be jealous. Be jealous, chat. All right. If I press this button, can we get Kipo on? Start the voice call.
Hello.
What's up, Kipo?
How's it going?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Good. That was an intense match.
It was super fun today. I think we had some really great matches. I'm really excited. You know that I got a point on the board for my team. That's
absolutely.
Nice. Are we gonna get Marmu in here?
Let me send him a message.
Yeah, see what's going on with that. All right, so let me see. Introduce yourself, Kipo. Talk a little bit about the event. That'll give me a chance to do some leveling here.
Awesome. Yeah, sure. So much to talk about. That match was epic. I loved how Epicosity played in that last set. Really interesting builds, interesting styles. Before we dive into the tournament, I just want to give a shout out to Trumpet too. He created the Furball Open, which is a cup that happens Sunday to every other Sunday. It's going to have a different format, but we had a qualifier, which pretty much enabled players that had Seed 2 to move up to Seed 1. If you want to check out the VODs, you could go to Trumpet's channel and take a look at the tournament. Congrats to Tiki Gray for taking first, this guy for taking second, and Melvin for taking third. This tournament was awesome, and it was a ton of fun. And big shout outs to Lego Man for a great performance. He actually bumped up his seed from Seed 2 to Seed 1.
So why are the Seed 1 versus Seed 2 important?
Sure, and also Paulon, who also bumped up his seed from Seed 2 to Seed 1. So as you could see, the TNT Championship 2021 drawings, we have Seed 1 players will be playing Seed 2 players in their first game. So the two advantages that you have as a Seed 1, the Seed 1 players are generally a little stronger. So in your group of 4, you will only have one other Seed 1 player, and you're guaranteed to have your first match against a Seed 2 player.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. I think we've got... Can we do a quick test on the spreadsheet? Can you just, like, type Delthius into a spot or something? I just want to make sure it live updates in OBS like I think it will. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, that's really cool.
Great.
So... I think you're able to just like invite Marmu onto the call if you can get him. But do you think I should just go ahead and start drawing some names here? Or?
One sec.
So this is starting off on Monday, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow is the first day, and is it going to be like the players have like I don't know like a week or something to play the matches or something? Hey.
I believe so. I'm trying to ring in Marmu now. I'm not a Discord whiz.
Yeah, it looks like Marmu's here. What's going on? What's going on, Marmu?
Hey, hello guys.
Hey, good to have you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So we're just kind of going over some of the details of the event. We're going to start tomorrow. We're doing GSL style brackets, the Furball Open, which for me, like I have a lot going on in my personal life at the moment, so I wasn't able to play yesterday, but I'm really excited to have something like the Furball Open going on because I can just hop in on a Saturday and play the match without a commitment. And speaking of a commitment, you know, we got 48 players for TNT Championship, and you guys had to close the door. Like, we probably would have got even more than that, you know, if you wanted. But I like the idea of having 3 rounds of 16s. I think that's nice and even. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's great. We kind of wanted to slim down because we wanted to you know, have this set for the specific format, but you know, I'm pretty sure some of the earlier seasons, like the first season of 2020, Mocha had, you know, 60 people sign up. So, you know, it's slimmed down a little bit, but you know, we love more players.
I love to see this turn into a pass the torch kind of event because Best Sakya NA started this kind of style event, you know, years ago, and then Mochaccino kind of revived it, and then now you, Marmu and Kipo, and I think the gentlemen as well are organizing it. So I love to see it, man. It's great. The number one thing we can do for the scene is stuff like this for sure.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's just so many great tournaments happening right now. It's such a good time to play Tooth and Tail. You have Clan Wars. We have an awesome match that just happened, and also a game coming up in an hour. If folks would like to tune into Tandor Draco stream, we have QQ's tournament, PBCs. We have the TNT Championship. We have Trumpets tournament, and there's going to be much more to come. So it's a really exciting time, for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I think it's great. So many things are going on. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, tune in about an hour, I think. Right at 4 is when the next matches happen for Tandor Draco.
Yes, 4 o'clock. It'll be LWM versus TRG, the first place team.
Okay. Well, without any further ado, let's get into this. So I have my Pokemon hat here, my Ash Ketchum hat for Seed 1, and then Seed 2 is in my cowboy hat. So let's get started here. So I'm going to draw Seed 1 and then Seed 2, like kind of in that order. Or 2, is that what it is? Or 2 Seed 1s?
Whatever order you like. You could do 2 1s and then 2 2s and then repeat.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So maybe I should back up a little bit here. There we go. So everybody can see the hat. All right, here we go. Drawing number 1. And we're doing beginner bracket first. We're going to go beginner, intermediate, and then premier. So Seed 1 from beginner, we've got Gilded Raven. All right, and then the next Group 1 Seed 1 is going to be... Stop the count. Oh my god, you guys. All right, Sassy Marquez, one of my P-Boot players. Okay, great. And going to the cowboy hat here for the Seed 2s. We have got Lupus Osorum. And the next Seed 2 is Sadi. All right, if you guys want to chime in, you're more than welcome. But maybe we can like take a little break in between each of the things and chat or something.
Well, especially for this season at least, we have a lot of new guys in the beginner and honestly a lot of new guys in the intermediate division as well. So I mean, every season we've had an influx of new players. But I think since this one, there's been a substantial amount of time since the preseason cup and this one. That we have so many new guys. So really the only names I recognize are Sassy Marquez and Sadly, I think. But yeah, you know, that's just something to think about with the beginners.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like, I've never heard of any of these players. Now, I have heard of Lupus. I think Lupus has been sending me replays, which is great. And of course, Sassy has been around for a little while. So yeah, that's fun. We can like kind of talk about the groups as we finish the groups up. I like that. But yeah, Gilded Raven and Sadly, I guess new players of the scene, which is really awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be helping Lupus as much as I can since he's my clan mate. He's my bud.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll see.
Is he somebody you met through Tooth and Tail, or did you know him already?
No, he's he joined LWN very early.
Oh, okay.
Along with Tandor and Cavernus, so we try to practice as much as we can together and things like that. So, yeah, I mean it'll be back to the drawing board and good old replay scouting, going through past tournaments, watching games, trying to look at some Clan Wars games to see how people play. So it's exciting.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's move into group number 2 here in the beginners division. We're looking at first seeds. So we've got, coming out of the Pokemon hats, Tandor Draco, another caster, and Seed 1B. I don't want to say Seed 1-2 because that gets confusing. Seed 1B is pink. Okay, and then coming out of the Seed 2 hats here, we've got Dash, or Dashe. Looks German or something, but my Southern American says Dash. All right, and Seed B here. Juggle River. Juggler. Okay, I've heard of Tandor Draco, obviously, because they're a caster. But other than that, I haven't heard of any of these players.
I think... Yeah, go ahead.
Pink, I know. I talked to him on and off. He plays a lot of unranked with a lot of strong players. Dasha you could find on the ladder, as well as Tandor pretty regularly.
Very cool.
I was gonna say I saw Pink talking in the Pocketwatch server a fair amount, just talking about units or playing matches with people or whatever. So
yeah, I think I have seen them in the Discord.
He's a StarCraft master player, I believe.
Oh wow, nice.
Ooh.
That's a pretty common theme in Tooth and Tail. I came over from StarCraft. A lot of people come over from StarCraft. FXB, they're a StarCraft clan, so I like Tooth and Tail because it is competitive and there's a high skill ceiling, but it's like a more relaxing RTS game, than something like StarCraft, which is really you got to go crazy and be super fast and stuff. So beginner 3, group 3, seed 1A. Out of the Ash Ketchum hat. Who's gonna get chosen here? Lyre and Harp. I choose you for seed 1A. In seed 1B for group 3, we've got Wildkin. All right, I recognize these players, Lyre and Harp and Wildkin. Wildkin's awesome. They submit me a lot of replays and hang out and really did a lot to try to learn the game, which is great. I love to see it because there are a lot of resources, and I think most people know about them. But obviously my channel, but Tiki Gray, Tosh, Tosh is streaming all the time, and he gives you that first person view. We've got guys like Tandor. Marmu streams, Kerpa. There's a ton of guys out there. All right, seed 2A. We've got Sleight of Ham, which by the way is an amazing Tooth and Tail name. I love it. And the next pick will be Alto. Very cool. Alto is one of my P-Boot beginners. Awesome. So Alto's new to the game. Been trying really hard, obviously. They're in Clan Wars. Lyre and Harp, kind of in the same boat. They joined the Clan Wars late. I think they wanted to go on P-Boot, but we got them on... what was it? It's not Badger Missionaries, is it? What team did they join?
I think so.
Is it BM? Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I remember you were able to get them in the event, but you put them on another team that needed another beginner. And then, of course, Wildkin, we talked about already, likes to submit replays and hang out. Sleight of Ham, I've never heard of, but I chuckled the first time I saw that name. I'm chuckling again. It's a fantastic Tooth and Tail name.
I know Lyre and Harp is strong, at least as a ladder player, but correct me if I'm wrong, Wildkin either made it to the semifinals or the finals of beginner last season. Is that accurate?
That sounds familiar.
I wish I could be sure. I know she did very strongly, and as a lot of people are saying in chat, this is a pretty this is like a high skill beginner group. And Lyre and Harp played in the tourney yesterday and actually took a game off me, so
nice.
Definitely, I was very impressed with how she played.
Wow.
He or she, and they used a really cool strategy. So definitely, this one's going to be very competitive, I would say.
They're saying in the chat, Wildkin made it to round of 4. So yeah, dang. And dude, Marmu, you're a really strong player. Lyre and Harp took a match off you. That's really impressive.
I know, man. Yeah. Well done. Seriously.
Okay, so we got one more group left for beginners before we move on to intermediates. Coming out of the Pokemon hat here, we've got Cavernous. And last seed for the beginners, seed 1, YSTMB. Cavernous, man, he had some crazy games on the Feast Friday night, if I recall correctly. Cavernous sent in a couple good ones. So I know him from that, likes to send me replays. YSTMB I've never heard of, but I guess before we get too into that, let's see what the final ones are. Out of the Cowboy hat, we've got Finholio. Okay. And the last name is Leon. Very cool. I've heard of Leon. They're in the Discord a lot. I've heard of Cavernus. I think they're newer, but like I said, they submit me replays, so I've seen them before. Haven't heard of Finholio, but that name reminds me of Cornholio, which makes me laugh because I'm a 90s kid. And YST I've never heard of.
YSTMB I know is a StarCraft player as well, I believe. Also very proficient. And Cavernus is very strong as well. So I think both Group 3 and 4 are going to be very competitive. I don't know who can make it out.
Okay, any final thoughts on beginner before we move on to intermediate here? Let me see. Let me do a quick glance over this. I recognize 2, 5. I recognize about like 6 or 7 of these players. So lots of new people to the scene, I think.
Yeah, I would say about 50% as well is who I recognize. And I mean, 3 and 4 are very strong, but just looking at it this as well, Sassy Marquez is, he's been playing for a while, and I know Pink and Tandor Trago are also very strong players. So, there's definitely potentials for upsets, and, all the groups seem pretty competitive. So these draws look very good.
Yeah, and if anybody's not familiar real quick with the GSL style, for one, I'm super happy you guys adopted that. It's really good for tournaments. But basically what's going to happen is Game 1 and Game 2 will play, and then the winners play each other, and whoever wins that advances. Okay? And then the losers play each other. Whoever loses that's eliminated. And then the loser of the winner versus the winner of the loser play, and whoever wins that advances, the other one's eliminated. So it's a really cool format. Basically, if that sounded hard to follow, it's like you got to go 2 and 1, essentially. Like you play the other people in the group, and you got to win 2 to get out, and you can only lose 1. If you lose 2, you get eliminated. So it's pretty cool. But all right, let's hop into intermediate here. I've got the Seed 1 hat. I've got all these coffee cups. I slept in a little this morning, so at the last minute I was trying to prepare, so I decided to put the other names in coffee cups and have a notepad. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. I guess we're about to find out. So, Seed 1 out of the Pokemon hat, we've got Protocam. Is that supposed to be there?
Yes.
Alright, then we did it right. Okay, obviously Protocam. He's been in the scene just as long as I am. We'll talk about that a little more later, though. And Seed 1B is going to be Epicosity, who we just saw put up a hell of a fight against the Gentleman. Arguably the best player of Tooth and Tail of all time, really. Okay, and then for Seed 2s, out of the other hat here, Seed 2A will be Cactus. Awesome. Cactus is... Alright, I gotta hold off. Like, I keep wanting to talk about the group. Let's finish getting the group first, though. Seed 2B is White X Cat. Alright. So, Protocam, obviously a big force in the scene. He used to do a lot of streaming. At one time, I kind of stopped doing ToothandTailTV, and he took it over. Not on this channel, but on a similar channel, and was kind of doing that for a little while. Event organizer, great, aggressive player, in my opinion. Cactus was on, I think, TRG as a beginner, and I believe that they are like a European player or some sort of foreign outside of the U.S., but I think most people are. Of course, Epicosity, big community organizer, longtime player, always really solid. I feel like Epicosity's always been like a name to look out for, but lately, like, he's gotten really good. And then I've never heard of White X Cat.
Yeah, so Cactus plays under the name Chocobo Fan.
Yeah.
You'll see them on ladder fairly regularly, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a scary group.
Yeah.
Protocam, like you said, been in the scene for forever. Likes the rush strategies as of recently. White X Cat, I believe, played last season in beginner, or the season before that, did very well. And as you said, I mean, Epicosity is at the top of his game right now. I think he's top 3 contenders to take the whole division this season. So a very scary player.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely just You know, Protocam is one of those guys who's been around, like you said, but he, you know, he loves to abuse the moles in previous patches, and you know, since kind of the downfall of the mole in the meta, he's had to come up with some different strategies. So it'll be interesting to see what he pulls out against, you know, Epicosity, you know, this other top player in his group, if that happens.
Did you guys mention White Cat at all? Sorry if I missed it, but I don't recognize White Cat.
He's a FXB player.
Oh, cool.
And I believe he played last season or the season before, and he did very well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, FXB is great. They've brought a ton of people over. Love to see a StarCraft clan coming in and trying to play some Tooth and Tail as well. All right, let's move on to Group 2 here. Intermediate. Seed 1A will be Kalaru, another one of my buddies on Clan P-Boop. And Seed 1B will be Horus the Holy. Very cool. Very cool. All right, I gotta hold off for talking about these guys. Let's get the rest of the drawings done. Out of the cowboy hats, Seed 2A, we've got Ljimi? LJI? Don't know how to say that. It's like lime with an extra J in there. And last Seed 2B for this group, we've got the Kid. Very cool. Alright, Kalaru, again, he's kind of an Epicosity character, in my opinion. You know, been here forever, always been a top competitor, always, you know, kind of a round of 4, round of 8 type of guy. And really cool to chat with, you know, submits a lot of replays in my channel. And I'm not sure how much TO he does or anything behind the scenes, but I always feel like Kalaru is the kind of guy I could reach out to, and he'd help me out if I needed it. Lime I've never heard of. Horus the Holy, kind of new. I feel like Horus came into the scene around the same time you did, Kipo. But he's really cool. I actually like in the previous championship, we were like scrimming, and he was the first one I really saw after the Toad patch, like, start abusing the Toads killing the Gristmills. He did pretty well there. I think he helped organize the Clan Wars. And the Kid, you know, likes to join events. I think he's been around for 1 to 2 years. You know, you see him around every now and then, maybe less than that. So yeah, that's what I know about these guys. What do y'all think?
So Ijime goes by the name. It's just a hyphen.
Okay.
If you see him on ladder, it'll just be a hyphen. He's been in Discord a lot, very active, very good player. Obviously, Kalaru, he made Camel. I actually learned that like probably later than I should have, but he's been here forever. He's very good. Horus, he hasn't been playing a lot recently. He did well last tournament. He actually did really well in the preseason cup. I don't know if y'all were paying attention, but he made it to the lower bracket finals. Narrowly losing to Meek. So he's definitely a strong player, although he hasn't been as active as of recent. And then there's the Kid, who on ladder, he's been terrorizing ladder for the last couple of months. I mean, anyone who's been active on ladder the last couple of months knows this guy, and he is very strong. He goes up to 900, you know, oscillates between 800, 900. I'm not sure if he's reached 1,000 as of yet, but he takes games off of Meek and myself and all the other active ladder players like daily.
Nice.
So
I got corrected in chat. He actually came over after the day 9 stream is when the Kid found the game. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty new. So getting that good that fast, I mean, he's definitely been pumping out some games. And I have heard of Hyphen. Hyphen is a name I recognize. I have played them on the ladder quite a bit.
Yeah, Delthius, I think what happened was, you know, that we have a player in our community, the Child.
Yes!
You know, the Kid. So
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So the Child has been around for forever, but unfortunately he's not participating in this tournament. But the Kid is new, and as Kippo said, he's playing very strong. And just for some insight about, like, previous seasons, Kippo is exactly right. He got 2nd place in the preseason cup. Horus the Holy did, sorry. And he also got 3rd place in the 2nd season of 2020 in the beginner division. So now he's moving up to intermediate. So he's placed, which is cool to know. And then Kalaru also is, I'm pretty sure he played in Premier the first season of 2020. So he's he's down in intermediate now, but still has superb knowledge of the game. So definitely a distinct advantage there. And I mean, yeah, this group is super good.
Yeah. All right, really exciting so far. Let's get to Group 3 here. Coming in, Seed 1A, coming in hot. We've got, oh geez, Sojourn Lesky. I can't. I'm sorry. That was my best attempt.
That one's tough.
All right.
That's Goris for anyone in chat. Goris.
Oh, is that Goris? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Goris. And then 1B, we've got Tatanka. Very cool. All right. There's a lot to talk about with those players. But let's finish the group first. And seed 2A here. We've got another tough one as Zen. Now Zen, I gotta wait. Okay, hang on. Yep, you got it. And then 2B. We've got Winter. Very cool. All right, so Goris kind of has his rivalry with Rattan, I feel like, a little bit. Those guys like to bump heads a lot. Zen, man, we saw, if anybody was watching the feast the other night, we saw some crazy matches from Zen come out. Really cool stuff. Lots of flank attacks, toads, hitting mills, that kind of stuff. Tatanka is a player that, again, kind of like the kid, is newer, but just skyrocketed on the ladder very fast. And Winterload, also a newer face in the scene, but I'm not sure if they stream, but I know they help out a lot in organization and stuff like that, right? That's my kind of take on the group. What do you guys have to say?
This is probably my favorite group. I mean, all these players are so interesting and unique and so strong. I can't wait to watch their games. Goris really started playing on another level when this patch came out. It seems like Toads just really vibes with them as a unit, and he started utilizing Toads, and his ladder ranking just shot through the roof. Sensej is he plays a lot on in Clan Wars, and you'll see him on ladder 2. Definitely a scary player, can take a game off of anyone. Tatanka, another player that recently came to the scene, and I want to say that he's skyrocketed faster than any other Tooth and Tail player I've seen. I mean, from when he started playing to where he is now, he is so strong. He goes into the PBCs and he takes games off of players like Melvin Fro, and he advances to the finals. He's been winning PBCs regularly. Someone to really watch out for. Him and Epicosity I'm going to be looking at in the intermediate group and watching their games very closely. And then everyone knows Winterload. Great player. He's the leader of TRG as a clan. And just to add, by the way, people have been pointing this out in chat. Group 3 is all TRG players.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
So I mean, I feel kind of bad because you want to spread your clanmates out throughout the tournament so you could all progress at the same time.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It's TRG Civil War, exactly. So
yeah, possible mutiny happening here.
Exactly.
Very cool. Anything to add, Marmu?
I've heard about Tatanka. I've yet to play him on ladder. Kippo has been telling me about him. I've played Goris a few times. Very cool player. I mean, I haven't really played any of these guys, but I'm pretty sure Tatanka is like close to 1,000 rating on ladder. So I'm not even there yet. So pretty impressive group.
All right, let's finish off the intermediate group here. We got a couple names left. Let's go into Seed 1A of Group 4. It's going to be Powelon. And Seed 1B, last but not least, oh yeah, Kerpa. I love Kerpa. Kerpa's my boy. All right, and finishing off the intermediate group, we've got Rattan coming in on 2A there. And last but not least, Draz from FXB. Okay, so Powelon in the Discord a lot. Pretty solid player. It's hard for me to really pinpoint when they started playing. I don't think they've been around since the beginning, but I don't think they're super new either. Raton, of course, everybody knows this guy. Likes to do some crazy strategies, on Discord a lot. Normally hanging out in chat on my streams, other people's streams as well. Kerpa is Kerpa's great. Kerpa's been around since day one. Always been competing in events. Always been kind of helping out behind the scenes with organization stuff. Really helping guys like me, submitting replays and stuff. They stream as well. Great caster. Help organize stuff. Another one of these like reliable people. Like I feel like I can hit Kerpa up as a caster or an organizer, and they'd be happy to help me. And then Draz, we saw a lot of Draz today from FXB. Pretty solid player. Nice bit. I think Intermediate's like the perfect group for Draz. They're a great player. And yeah, I'm excited. This one is gonna be fun. I'm rooting for Kerpa personally, but I think all these players are pretty well balanced and can take it. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, Paulon won his seed, by the way, in the Swiss the trumpet tournament that took place yesterday. He played very well, so I think he's definitely one of the contenders this season. Raton, everyone knows and loves, big lizard player, and then Kerpa and Draz. Draz, I think he played last season, but he also played in the preseason cup and did very well, if I remember correctly. But I feel as a general rule of thumb, you should always be scared of an FXB player because they train and they play together as a clan, and they have Trumpet in their leadership, so that they're all going to have the meta downloaded, and they're all going to be in top form when it comes to tournaments.
Any thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, another thing, just Kalaro and Kerpa, both premier players who are now in intermediate, so difference between the rest of the players there. And Paulon is a returning player. He played in an intermediate season previous to this one, so definitely interesting players. And Raton is Daffy, and I coached him last season, so definitely really smart guy. He really understood every tips I gave him, so we'll see what he's able to do this season.
I'm curious, what does Chad and what do y'all think about the group of death for intermediate? I know this might not be the most popular pick, but I'm looking at group 3 as the group of death. Goris is on top of his game. Sensej is very strong, as is Winterload, and Tatanka has just been tearing up the ladder nonstop. But I'm curious what chat thinks and what y'all think about the group of death for intermediate.
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable one. I think Epicosy is very powerful at the moment, but I don't see this as like a group of death as much as I see a couple really strong players in each group. I'm thinking like Epicosity from group 1, like the Kid, or maybe even Klaru from group 2, like Tatanka in group 3, and probably Paolon in group 4. But the most stacked group, it might depend on how good Horus is in shape. I think Horus is a guy like me, doesn't really play all the time, but kind of keeps up to date on what's going on and stuff. So if Horus gets into shape, if Kalaru gets into shape, I think group 2 could be really nasty, but group 3 seems like a pretty safe pick as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, spread out skill level between all the players. I think group 2 kind of takes that. All these guys have played and stuff before. All skilled players, all play ladder or played ladder at some point. And Klar is a veteran, so I think the skill level wise for group 2 is just spread out. So I think it's probably going to be the most competitive group.
Okay, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you've been waiting for, the premier drawings. Seed 1A of Group 1. Who's it going to be? The first premier name of the map. All right, another guy I love, Mishi. I'm surprised Mishi's playing, but we'll have to hold on that. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. And seed 1B is going to be Tiki Gray. Oh, man. Oh, man. Talking groups of death here. Seed 2A. Mad King Mishi, says Meek. Oh, Trumpet. Oh, lordy. Who's going to be it? Who's the last victim of Group 1? Marmu. Welcome to the party.
Oh, no.
I mean, this to me already looks like a group of death. You know, Mishi, for some of the newer players who may not be familiar, Mishi's an old school name. He's been around since 2017. Like I have. I used to cast a lot with Mishi. He's never really been in like the TO side of things. He used to stream a lot. He even actually made some awesome videos, like instructional videos, like really talking about, you know, specific builds or strategies. And phenomenal player. He's a sweetheart. He's a doctor now. But he's one of these guys who like never practices, never plays, and then he shows up for tournaments and just slams them, you know. And I'm excited. I think if Mishi, it was funny, I was talking about earlier, like, the best players of all time, and I didn't mention Mishi. I definitely should have. I mean, this guy he's won so many tournaments. Again, not a name a lot of new players would be familiar with, but I love to see that he's actually playing again or participating in the event. Of course, we've got Trumpet, team leader of FXB, and a phenomenal guy, great caster. I had a great time casting with him earlier. Really strong force in the scene. Tiki Gray, another really powerful player. Not really newer anymore. Actually, he's been around for a long time. He rebranded. He used to be known as Solomon, I think, when he played on a console. And when he came over to PC, he went with Tiki Gray. And then Marmu, we got you in the chat, man. Not a lot to say about Marmu, but Marmu, again, you're one of these guys who've been here forever. Always a strong competitor in tournaments, and another person I feel like, you know, myself or other organizers, you know, we can reach out to you and you'd help us out if we needed anything. So that's my thoughts. This already looks like a group of death, so I'm really excited. What's y'all's takes? And I'm sorry that you're in this group, Marmu.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, all of these games, all of these matchups are going to be fantastic. But what I would be most interested in seeing, just based purely on the strategy of the players and their personalities and whatnot, is a top form Mishi versus a top form Tiki Gray. I would be so excited if you know, it's possible we get that matchup. It's possible that we don't, based on how the wins and losses go. But just as an aside, like even outside of the tournament, if I could just witness that Mishi versus Tiki in top form, that would really be something.
Yeah, that's a really fun point to make, because that would be super hype.
But yeah, I mean, these are going to be fantastic games across the board. I don't think anyone could really predict who's going to come out. It's going to be tough, but we'll see.
Yeah, just looking at this, you know, I think, you know, Tiki Gray and Mishi are like very technical players, and, you know, Trumpet has been very active recently, and so has Tiki Gray. So I think really what I'm looking for here is whether or not Mishi is in full form. And, you know, as well as me, I kind of took a little break from Tooth and Tail for a while here, and I haven't been playing ladder as much. So really this tournament that happened Saturday was the first thing that I've really participated in. So I think if you look to see if me and Mishi get into shape here, it's definitely going to be a more interesting group. But yeah, this is, no matter what happens, it'll still be really interesting to watch. Yeah,
and like you guys just said, I'm really excited to see if Mishi prepares for this or not, because Mishi's one of these guys who can totally get away with not preparing, you know, and show up. But this group, you know, you're against Trumpet and Tiki, which are some of the big tryhards in the scene right now. You know, you can't get away with showing up and not studying for the tests on this one, I don't think. So it's going to be exciting. All right, let's move into Group 2. All right, first one is going to be Melvin Fro. Nice. And seed 1B will be, oh, the gentleman,
Both Frenchmen.
Oh yeah, Melvin's French? I didn't know that. All right.
Yep.
Actually, it makes sense. I think I've seen him like post screenshots and stuff in French. All right, here we go. 2A. Kipo. It's your time to sweat.
Great.
And 2B will be... Oh, Jacoby. Very cool. All right, so got a lot to say about this group. Melvin Fro, another one of these players that's just been around forever. Really top performer. I don't think anybody's ever happy to have to fight against Melvin Fro in an event. I don't think he's got a championship ring yet. I don't know if he's got that big first place in a big event. Kipo, you've been around for quite some time, and I'm really proud of you, man, and I think you're doing a lot of really great work for the scene, organizing the clan wars, picking up on Championship 2021. I mean, these are literally the things that keep this game alive and breathing, is doing stuff like what we're doing now. So big tip of the hat to you, and of course you're also a strong player. The gentleman, though, kind of piggybacking off what I just said about Kipo, I mean, the gentleman's been the Kipo since like day one. I mean, gentleman's organized 10 or 12 tournaments at least. I mean, his own specific thing, I think there's like 8 seasons of. He always creates these really cool long style events that are like board games, but you play tooth and tail instead of like roll dice, is what I like to say. Gentleman's won a ton of events, so he's always been very powerful in the scene, you know, both as an organizer and a competitor. Also a friend of mine. He's the guy I kind of hit up when I get into try hard mode. Like, I'll send my deck ideas to Gent and let him kind of mull them over. And again, another person I reach out to all the time, helps things behind the scenes. And of course, Jacoby I feel like is in like the Melvin Fro category. Actually, Jacoby did win an event. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I do specifically remember he won something, and it was while Tosh was casting. I remember watching that while I was leveling up my World of Warcraft Classic character. But Jacoby's really known for really standardizing the like skunk, pigeon, badger style. Really strong player. He did win an event. TNT Anniversary #2 for Jacoby wins, says the gentleman. Dude, I told you, gentleman's on top of all this stuff, man. You know, it's crazy. So really cool group, and I'll let you guys put your talk on it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think everyone in the chat's probably thinking the same thing. Melvin Fro and Gent advance, and I'm in that school of thought as well. Of course, will be trying my hardest. I mean, so Melvin Fro did win intermediate 2 seasons ago, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And
cool.
Yeah, he won intermediate, and then he advanced to premier, and then he tore up premier. I mean, everyone knows him. He's easily a top 5, if not a top 3 player. He plays in PBCs. He wins most of them. Incredibly strong. And then, I mean, the gentleman, obviously one of the strongest players. Jacoby, you know, when he's not as active, but when he does play, he seems to always do well.
Yeah, he's like a Kalaru in that kind of sense, I feel like, you know. Like, when they're on their
Right.
game, they're really, really top shape.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think RNG was really on my side this go around, but we'll see how things shake out. It'll be fun and exciting no matter what.
It's always rough. I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, gentleman most is going to get out, right? So it's always rough being in the group with gentlemen. But I think you got a fair shake at spot #2, man. I wish you luck. I think you could beat Melvin.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts, Marmu?
Yeah, so, you know, Gent and Melvin are kind of players that, you know, I feel like I'm more prepared to face. Like Mishi and Tiki Gray kind of play these styles where you're not expecting something to go so well for them because they have these interesting strategies. And Melvin Fro and Gent are very, I wouldn't say traditional, but you can kind of understand what they're doing the whole time, and you feel like you have a chance, but you still lose anyway. And that's kind of how they play. So, you know, and Jacoby kind of plays in that similar style as well. And I don't know. This group is quite interesting. I think the matchups are closer than Kippo thinks, and I think Kippo actually can do really well in a group that's set up like this. Yeah, and also, not to not give credit here, but Jen also was the main one who came to the organization team this season, and he proposed the GSL format.
Nice.
So just to give him a little shout out there and give him credit for that. It's been very helpful and very interesting. So.
Yeah, I think it's a well-known format, and I think it's really great for games that have quick matches of best of 3, best of 5. This is best of 5, right?
Yep.
Okay. And now, when we go into round of 8s, is it just single limb bracket from there?
It'll be another GSL.
It'll be 2 groups? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the bracket will start at round of 4.
Gotcha. All right, so let's keep her going. Premier Group 3, Seed 1A here. We've got Meek. And 1B will be... Oh, James! Old King James. Awesome. All right. And let's take a look in the cowboy hat for the Seed 2s. Chat's going crazy for Meek. Oh, Necromanticer. Awesome. And the final... Oh, that's a Seed 2A.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Thank you.
And then the last one is Night Slayer. Wow. Night Slayer in Premier already. Okay, got a lot to say about this group as well. I feel like the Premier, like, I know all these guys, you know, once you're on the Premier side. So Meek is awesome. Really well known kind of for interesting strategies, for being aggressive. Not necessarily newer anymore. I think Meek's been around a good amount of time, and you guys might know better than me. I have a horrible memory for this kind of thing, which is kind of ironic because I host most of the events, but I don't really remember too well who wins everything. I don't think Meek has a championship yet. Necromanticer has been here since the beginning. I mean, way back in the day, I was cast in Necromanticer matches in like 2017. Took a long break, and he's been coming back lately, and obviously he's in really good shape. He qualified for Premier, so that's great. James, I'm assuming James Bowring, King James, he's been around forever. He's a really good fan. Really good friend of Premium Bow. He's a longtime fan and submitter for the Feast. I think James has won a couple events. I do remember specifically. I don't remember which ones they are. Maybe Gentleman remembers, but I think maybe Season 1 at TNT Championship. I could be wrong, but I know James has won. I think he's won a couple of the Gentleman events. Season 3 and 4 of the 21 Duels. That's what it was. I just started remembering it right when Jen said it, yeah. So he won some Gentleman events. And then Night Slayer, I think, is newer. So I'm kind of... I remember he did really good last season. And I remember specifically, I was impressed by his Boar Falcon strategy against that like Owl Snake late game. So those are my Group 3 thoughts. What are you thinking, Kipo? Season 1 championship final. I'm sorry, James versus Mishi was the Season 1 championship final as well.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was a great game too.
Yeah,
great. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching this. I'm going to be watching and studying these games very closely. These are all really interesting and dynamic players, I think. Meek, I think he's the most versatile tooth and tail player because you have no idea what he's going to play, and he has everything mastered and figured out so well. So many different decks, so many varieties. Definitely a really scary... He could cheese, he could macro, he could throw any tier 3 at you. Necromanticer is a guy that you don't see on ladder very often, but if you watch his games, he plays very carefully and he plays very well. I almost think of him as like a dark horse where it's like, I feel like I know less about him than anyone else here, but when I do see him play on the rare occasions that I play against him, he's extremely strong. So I honestly would not be surprised if he came out of this group. James, he's been streaming lately. Awesome player, really cool guy, great strategies. Famously, not using skunk as other players do and leveraging things like toads. And then Night Slayer is a guy that, to my knowledge, came onto the scene at a similar time that I did, but skyrocketed to prominence. I mean, if you watch his games in the Swiss, he was a terror. I mean, he was about to grab Meek's seed. He was 3-1. He was taking games off of all of the best players in the tournament. He faced Meek in the last round. They were 1-1, and Meek just happened to win that final game to keep his seed. So it was a great series, and Night Slayer, also a really cool guy. Definitely going to be watching this group closely.
Yeah, I think, Necro is kind of a newer Premier player, but he's definitely very strong. I kind of cater him towards almost like a Mishi style that he plays, and like a Lego Man style. I think he really enjoys using snakes, which I hate to play against, but, and then, yeah, James, returning veteran, very strong, Meek, pretty much. I would almost consider him a veteran at this point. And Night Slayer is really, I think, the one to watch. He has, kind of burst into the scene very quickly. He performed extremely well in the Furball Cup. Something to note is that he went 2-1, or 2-1, or 1-2 against Meek, I guess you would say. So that matchup obviously may happen again in this group. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, just in general, very, very interesting group here.
All right, we've got one more group left. Let's see who the final Premier group will be. A couple names left in the hats here. We've got Araloo. Can't forget about Araloo. Seed 1A, Seed 1B. Final Seed 1 is Lego Man, one of my P-boopers. And the final seed, Seed 2A, we've got Virtually Korean. Nice, and Premier. And last but not least, Big Pimpin' Tosh. I was wondering if he was playing this season. I was like, where is this guy at? All right, so Araloo, you know him, you love him. This guy has been playing for a long time. Started taking over tournaments. He's got a few wins under his belt. I think he beat the Gentleman in a tournament pretty recently. Virtually Korean. I'm sorry, but more on Araloo real quick. Araloo, to me, has really pioneered a lot of builds. I think he was one of the first top players who really started making Tier 2 centric decks like super viable. And this guy knows timings, which, in my opinion, in Tooth and Tail is very hard. A lot of people tend to like to just eco up, which is great. But Araloo is the kind of guy, especially when the moles were strong. I mean, he would say, all right, you were 120 food too greedy. I'm going to push in and kill you. And that is such a hard skill to master, in my opinion. Virtually Korean, we talked about him a little bit earlier during the Clan Wars. He's another one of Trumpet's StarCraft 2 buddies. He's come over. Really cool to see him already in Premier League. I believe he's a newer player, but of course, as you guys have pointed out, with the tutelage of Trumpet, with being on FXB, you kind of really accelerates you up, since you have a good understanding of the meta. Lego Man 96, another guy, in my opinion, like a Melvin Fro, like a Jacoby, been around forever. I remember Lego Man for years, always a top contender. I don't think he's won a big championship. Correct me if I'm wrong. And of course, Big Pimpin' Tosh, you know him, you love him. A little bit of it can get salty sometimes, but really entertaining streamer. He's the most prolific streamer in Tooth and Tail. I mean, this guy's on ladder all the time. The stream's up basically every day. Always does well at big events. I think he's one of the strong players that's a little overdue for a championship. Maybe I'm wrong. But Tosh is another player like a Meek, in my opinion, where you just never know what this guy is going to throw out at you. And I think that's one of Tosh's big strengths is Tosh is probably the best player in the scene at just understanding like every single unit in a variety of decks. So what do you guys think of this final group here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tosh and Lego Man are also like friends. Like they play each other all the time. So I'm going to be really interested to see how that one shakes out. Tosh, he's a random ladder player. He plays regularly. So like you said, he has a really great understanding of the game, been around the scene forever. Lego Man doing really well in the Trumpet Swiss tournament, the Furball Open that took place yesterday, ending with a 4-1 record and taking my seed. He was a monster that tournament. So if he brings that game to this tournament, I don't see why he can't go all the way. Virtually Korean is also, like you said, a sort of a recent player. He started, I think in the last couple of months or so, but very strong. If you watch his PVC performances, I know he's taken sets off of Melvin and a lot of other really great players, if memory serves. And I mean, Erelu, enough can't be said about this guy, right? He's the returning champ, #1 on Camel, #1 on Ladder. In my opinion, I know this is kind of a bold claim, he really made the meta. He established the tier 2 meta last patch, and he perfected the game. Like, you can't say that, he's not a favorite in this tournament based on his previous results and where he's ranked right now and how he's been performing. So yeah, this is going to be a great group. A lot of great matches coming up for sure.
Yeah, just like I think like group number 3, Necro and Virtually Korean kind of hold this, underdog status, but I think they still can get it done. Arlu's strong, but I think him and Gent actually got a couple games taken off of them in the Furball Cup, so maybe not as strongly, or they didn't perform as strongly as some of us may have predicted. So definitely potential for some upsets. And then, Lego Man versus Tosh, it's kind of unfortunate, similar to intermediate group 3, that these kind of, friends have to go at each other's throats for the first match. But, both players, both veterans, substantial knowledge of the game. I think Virtually Korean really has to put in some serious work to advance here. His group is kind of stacked against him, but I think he can definitely do it.
Yeah, for me, the group of death, I gotta go with group 1, man. It's hard. There's a lot of really good players everywhere, but I feel like, Trumpet and Tiki, both really powerhouses. Mishi, and I feel like you're in this spot too, Marvu. Like, if you and Mishi really start practicing, and putting the time in, I mean, both of you are monsters. So, for me, group 1 is the group of death. What do you guys think?
It's so hard.
It is really hard. All these players are so good,
Yeah, I find it hard to give a definitive answer here. I'm interested in group 3. I'm going to go with group 3. I think everyone in group 3 is very strong. And I'm just looking forward to watching those games. So, yeah, I think group 3 is a group of death, and I'll be watching those games very closely. I can't wait to see them.
Well, not to pick my own group, I'm not going to go with group 1. I think group 2, when you're talking about styles against each other and how players play at the highest level, I think these guys kind of all play a somewhat similar strat when they're going with what they're comfortable with. So I think group 2 competitively is the closest for me.
All right, guys. Well, I got to get going. I got to wrap things up. But thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun. Maybe we can do this again at the round of 8. And what else? You might notice my name is missing from this list. I did opt to not play this season. I got a lot going on in my personal life. But I'd love to please, Marmu, keep me in the loop. I'd love to do weekly casts and cover the tournament as much as I can. So.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for hosting. Clan Wars starting in 15 minutes. It's going to be a great match. If folks want to head over to Tandor Draco stream to watch LWM take on TRG. And shout outs to Marmu and Jen for doing all the organization, all the behind the scenes. This is going to be an awesome event. I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait to start playing.
Yeah, we're actually going to go, we're going to raid Tandor Draco. So we're all going to shift over there. I was talking to him a little bit, and he booted up, got the intro going, so we can do that. Marmu, any last thoughts here?
Just thank you to you. Kippo didn't give himself any credit for also helping us with the organization, so thank you to Kippo. And this is some really great groups. I think this turned out really well, and hopefully we can do it at the round of 8.
Yeah, I'm excited. And there's a lot of great streamers out there, so if you are a streamer or somebody interested in casting, please get involved. It's impossible. I won't be able to cover everything, obviously, and plus I want some of the other great casters to get involved too. So the more casters we can get going with this, the more coverage we can have of the event, so everybody can see the games and have that historical archive on Twitch. But I do have to go. I'm out of time today, guys, so we're going to raid Tandor Draco. Everybody, let's get in there. Let's give him a raid. Give him a woof. Type a woof in the chat for me. Let's woof them. And take care, everybody. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds. I had a great time casting today, and I'll see y'all next time.